أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Welcome back to the next session, next chapter, fifth chapter of our second term. This is the chapter named as non-aqueous solvents. What things are expected from you? Physical properties of the solvent, types of solvent, the general properties of characteristics, reactions in non-aqueous solvents. Which solvents are expected here? Liquid ammonia and liquid acid. These two solvents, liquid ammonia and liquid acid. These two solvents are study of these two solvents is expected at second year. Okay, we come across the term many times solvent. What is the solvent? Solvent, they have the capacity to dissolve the solid. Suppose we take NaCl and put it into water. Then water has capacity, ability to dissolve it. It separates the ion into positive ions and negative ions. So solvent, it has the capacity to dissolve the solute. So most of the chemical reactions take place in aqueous solutions. Aqueous solutions means aqua refers to the water. The term aqua, it refers to the water. Okay. Many times we carry out reaction in water solution. Suppose any solution is there, we put the water in the beaker and add some, suppose NaCl to that, and we will stir that. What happens? Sodium chloride, it passes into the solution. It gets dissolved. It forms ions, and thus up to this we come across the term aqueous solvents. Aqueous solvents means referring to the water. Water is a universal solvent. It has capacity to dissolve large number of substances. It is an ionic solvent as such. H plus and OH minus ions are there, so it is called as ionic solvent. Or polar solvent. It is called as a polar solvent. So most of the chemical reaction that takes place in aqueous solution in water. The reacting substances should be kept in suitable medium. They are put in the medium solvent before appreciable reaction can take place. Okay. For the reaction to occur, we put whatever solute is there, we put the solute in the solvent. Thereafter, reaction will occur. But it is found that it is rather unfortunate that we usually lay stress on reacting substances only. We give stress on the reacting substances only, and we ignore the importance of solvent on the course of chemical reaction. We put much stress on the reacting substances only. We do not concentrate on the importance of the solvent, because the solvent also plays a very important role in the reaction. How does it play the role? By changing the solvent, the reactants may give altogether different products. Different products, they may be formed by change of the solvent. Or even the course of chemical reaction may be reversed. Course of the chemical reaction may be reversed by the change of the solvent. For example, ammonium chloride and lithium nitrate, when they are put in the aqueous solution, they will not react. They do not react. Okay. So this is ammonium chloride. and lithium nitrate, they are allowed to react in the aqueous solution in the water as a media, then reaction does not occur here. But when you put forward, when you put this ammonium chloride in this lithium nitrate in liquid ammonia as a media, as a solvent, then it gives a PPT of LiCl and in liquid ammonia medium. Okay, you see the reaction. This is the reaction, ammonium chloride and lithium nitrate. It is leading to the formation of LiCl in this way. PPT of LiCl is formed, lithium chloride is formed, and ammonium nitrate is formed. Whereas if you look at the back pages, then they are not going to react in aqueous media. If you put them in the water, then they are not going to react. Reaction which is not possible in aqueous media, it is possible in non-aqueous media. By just change of the solvent, it is possible to react both the reactants. This is the magic of the solvent. This is how the solvent they are important. Again, AgNO3, silver nitrate, BaCl2. Aqueous solution react to form a PPT of AgCl. This is the silver nitrate, barium chloride. Then you put these two things in the aqueous media in water, then they lead to the formation of silver chloride and barium nitrate. Now, this is how the importance of the solvent is there. Now, let us look at the classification of the solvents, how they are classified. Now, they are classified into a number of ways depending upon their physical and chemical properties. What is the criteria for classification? Their physical appearance and chemical properties. Physical properties means all things are there. Its appearance, melting point, boiling point, solubility. All these things are their density. Okay, all viscosity, all these things they are included in the physical properties. Okay, the first way of classification. This is a more common classification which is based on proton donor and proton oxidative property of the solvent. Depending upon the proton, whether it donates proton or it accepts proton, this property has been taken into consideration and they are classified. On the basis of this classification of the solvent is solvent they are classified into three types. Okay. Three types are there. First type is acidic or protogenic solvents. They are classified into three types. Now, this protic solvent, they are classified into again to two types. Okay. Broadly, this depending upon proton acceptor or proton donor capacity, tendency, they are classified into three types. Plus this protonic solvent, they are classified into two types. Okay. Now, come here. These solvents, protonic or protic solvents, they have tendency, they have hydrogen atom or proton in their formula. They have proton or hydrogen atom in their formula. You look at here, H2SO4, it is having H plus ion. You look at here, it is a acetic acid, it is having H plus ion, isn't it? It is having proton. So the molecular formula, it contains the proton. Okay. So these solvents, protic or protonic solvents, they are classified into two types. First type is acidic or protogenic solvents, which contain proton. They have tendency to donate the proton. Okay. Second type is basic or protophilic. Phil means attraction, affinity. Okay. So basic or protophilic solvents. What are these? They have tendency. They have tendency to accept the protons. These protic or acidic solvents, they have tendency, they have capacity to donate or to liberate the protons. Okay, H2SO4, CH3CH2 has in 2. And on the contrary, on the opposite side, these basic or protophilic solvents, proto means proton, relating to proton. Philic means attraction. Solvent which has attraction towards the proton. Okay, so these have tendency to accept the proton. They have attraction, they have love towards the proton. For example, NH3, ammonia, liquid ammonia, of course. Amines, all amines, they are having NH2 group. Amines having NH2 group. Secondary amine or tertiary amines, etc. Primary amines, they will be having different amino groups. Okay, but one thing is there, they are having N group, and that is acceptor for the proton. That accepts the proton is having a lone pair of electron associated with it. Therefore, it accepts proton easily. Okay, whether it is ammonia or amines. Okay, this is the pyridine. This is the pyridine C5H5N. Okay, this is having again electron pair acceptors here. Lone pair which can accept the proton. This is the hydrazine NH2NH2 N2H4. Okay, so in this way, these are the basic or protophilic solvents which have tendency, which have capacity to accept the protons. Example is ammonia, amines, pyridine, hydrazine. Okay, this is the one of the type. Let us look at the second type, aprotic or non-protic solvents. Aprotic or non-protonic solvents. As the name suggests, they do not contain proton. Okay, they are without proton. These may or may not have hydrogen in their formula. Sometimes hydrogen may be there, but it cannot be separated or liberated or released as such. Just like H2SO4 is there, you can liberate, you can release this proton, you can separate this proton, you can separate this proton. Okay, but here we are able to see the benzene, but it is not possible to separate this proton as such. It is not possible to liberate proton. Chloroform is there. It is having hydrogen atom in the structure, in the formula, but it is not possible to release this proton as such. Okay, so in this way, this may or may not have hydrogen in their formula, and neither donate or accept protons. They do not accept or donate the proton. They may have proton, hydrogen atom, or may not have the hydrogen atom in the formula, but they do not have capacity, they do not accept protons or donate protons. Okay. Clear now? They may have or may not have the hydrogen in their formula. Sometimes hydrogen may be there, but it is not possible to release that proton in the form of proton. Just like you may look here, benzene having 6 hydrogen atoms, you may think that this proton may be separated. So it is not possible as seen from the previous examples. Chloroform, it is not possible to separate proton easily. So these are the non-protonic solvents which do not have the ability to accept or donate the protons. This is the benzene, this is the chloroform, sulfur dioxide, this is a chloroform, this is bromine trifluoride. Okay. Amphiprotic or amphoteric solvents. These have the hydrogen in their formula. These molecules, this solvent, they have hydrogen form in their formula, and they donate or accept protons depending upon the nature of reacting species. They may either donate or accept the protons. That depends upon the reacting species, nature of the reacting species. How is the nature of the reacting species? So they can act both as acids as well as bases, and consequently they are amphoteric in nature. Therefore, they are called as amphoteric. Ampho means double. You may be remembering the frog, it belongs to the class Amphibia. Amphibian means double life. It is aquatic as well as terrestrial animal. It can live on the land, okay, on the earth, as well as it can live in water, aquatic life. Therefore, it is having a double life. It is called, it belong to the class Amphibia. So similar is there. Amphibians double. So it is this solvents, they possess the hydrogen in their formula, but they can behave as acid as well as base. Sometimes acid, or they may acid or base, depending on the nature of the reacting species, reacting substance. These solvents, they dissociate feebly. They dissociate up to less extent into protons and anions. Okay, the solvents, they dissociate feebly, and means up to very less degrees, up to less extent into protons and anions. Okay, example, acetic acid, water. Okay, water. I am not I have not quoted the examples of amphiprotic solvents. It should be there. Suppose water is there. Water, it will act as sometimes acid, sometimes it will act as a base. Okay. If acid is stronger, it will act as a base. Okay. If acid is stronger, it will act as a base. If acid is poor, then it will act as a. If acid is poor, then it will act as a base. Okay. In this way, now next classification. Now this classification is based on the fact that like dissolves like. This classification gives ionizing polar or ionic solvents and non-ionizing, non-ionizing, non-polar or non-ionic solvents. Okay. If a suppose NaCl is there, it is a polar compound, so it will dissolve in a polar solvent like water. Okay. If you put it in the non-ionizing solvent, so it is not possible to dissolve that. So this classification is based upon the fact that like dissolves like. Two classes are there: ionizing, polar or ionic, and non-ionizing, non-polar and non-ionic. Okay. Let us look at this. What is the ionic? Ionic solvents are polar in nature. They are polar or ionic in nature. Therefore, they dissolve ionic compounds. Okay. Ionic solvents are polar in the nature. For example, H2. What they does? They are polar. They are having polarity. H plus OH minus is there. Therefore, they are polar. They have polarity charges over them. So they will definitely dissolve ionic compounds and initiate ionic reactions. They start the ionic reactions. They exist as ions in their pure state, and thus they are weak conductors of electricity. They exist as ions in their pure state, and therefore they are weak conductor of electricity. They have high values of dielectric constant. Because of their polar nature, they have strong tendency to form associated structure. Associated structure means they are joined together, molecule they are joined together. Okay, H2, H2, H2 in this way. They are polar, they have charges. Therefore, definitely their molecule they are attached to each other. NH3, NH3, NH3 many times in this way. They are associated, they are molecule they are attached to each other. Okay, that is called as association. For example, water, NH3, ammonia, HF, hydrogen fluoride, SO2, sulfur dioxide. So these solvents undergo self-ionization as shown below. They undergo self-ionization. Water, two molecules of water leading to the formation of hydronium ion and hydroxide ion. Okay. Self-ionization is there. Ammonia. Now these are the ionizing solvents. They will undergo ionization. Ammonia leading to the formation of ammonium ion and amide ion. NH3, NH3. NH4, ammonium ion. This is the amide ion. Okay. Sulfur dioxide again leading to formation of cation and anion here. Positive ion is formed, negative ion is formed. Thus, ionic solvent, they are polar in nature or they are ionic in nature. Therefore, they dissolve ionic compounds. They start the ionic reaction. They exist in they exist as ion in pure state. They are weak conductors of electricity. Conduction of electricity is very weak in case of these ionic solvents. They have high values of dielectric constant. Because of their polar nature, they have tendency to form associated structure. Okay, due to polar nature, due to charges, the molecule will attract each other and they form association. Aggregate of the molecules, they will be formed. That is called as associated molecules. Okay, they undergo self-ionization as follows: water leading to the formation of positive ion, hydronium ion, hydroxide ion. This is the liquid ammonia. Ammonia leading to the formation of ammonium ion and amide ion. In the same way, sulfur dioxide leading to the formation of positive ion and negative ion. Third categories, next categories are non-ionizing solvents. Solvents which do not ionize. These are the non-polar or non-ionic in nature. They do not have charge on the. Okay, so they are non-polar in nature. Therefore, they will dissolve only non-polar or natural compounds, neutral compounds, non-polar and neutral compounds, and do not initiate ionic reactions. They are not ionic in nature, therefore, they will not dissolve the ionic compounds, polar compounds. Okay, they are non-polar, non-ionic in nature. They do not have ions. Okay, non-ionic, no charge over them. Therefore, they cannot dissolve the non-polar polar substances. Being non-polar, they will dissolve only non-polar or neutral compounds. Neutral compound, they can be dissolved without any charge, not having any charge on them. And they not initiate, they cannot start the ionic reactions. Okay, they have low dielectric constants. Okay, they have little associative capacity. Okay, there is no charge, there is no polarity associated with them, so molecule cannot be associated as such. Aggregates of the molecule cannot be formed here. And solvating tendency between the solute and solvents. Very little tendency is there. Little associating and solvating tendency between the solute and solvents. Example are, this is the C6H6 benzene, this is the carbon tetrachloride. So these solvents, they do not undergo self-ionization. These solvents, they do not undergo self-ionization. Okay, so this is the second category, non-ionizing solvents, non-polar in nature, non-ionic, so they will dissolve the non-polar or neutral compounds. They cannot initiate, they cannot start ionic reactions. A low value of dielectric constant are there and little tendency to get associated and solvating tendency between solute and a solvent. Example, this is the benzene C6H6 aromatic compounds, Cl4 carbon tetrachloride. They do not undergo self-ionization. Here we have seen they undergo ionizing solvent, they undergo self-ionization, leading to formation of positive ion and negative ion. So type of thing is not there in case of non-ionizing. aqueous and non-aqueous solvents. The solvents other than water, they are called as non-aqueous solvents. Many times we come across the term non-aqueous solvents. So solvents rather than uh, 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 other than water, they are called as non-aqueous solvent. What are the example? We have you can also this is also a non-aqueous solvent. Benzene, carbon tetrachloride, our liquid ammonia. Liquid ammonia. It is also a non-aqueous solvent. This is liquid sulfur dioxide. These are non-aqueous solvent. And this is HF. It is a non-aqueous solvent. Okay. So the solvents other than water, they are called as non-aqueous solvent. The groups obtained as a result of self-ionization of H2O and non-aqueous solvents are analogous, similar to each other. The groups which are obtained as a result of self-ionization of H2O and non-aqueous solvents are similar to each other. How? Let us see example. H3O plus. This water undergoes self-ionization leading to the formation of, where we have seen, this is self-ionization leads to the formation of positive ion and negative ion. Okay, hydronium ion and hydroxide ion. So here H3O and OH minus ion, they are formed from the self-ionization of water. And similar to this, analogous means similarity, similar to this, NH4, ammonium ions and amide ions, they are formed as a result of self-ionization of liquid ammonia. We have seen here this ammonia, it is leading to the formation of ammonium ion and amide ion. Okay, amide groups. This is a non-aqueous solvent as such, but it undergoes self-ionization. Similarly, this undergoes this non-aqueous solvent, they also form positive ions and negative ions. The groups obtained as a result of self-ionization of water and non-aqueous solvents, they are analogous to each other, they are similar to each other. Groups which are obtained as a result of self-ionization, they are very much similar to each other. For example, we have seen hydronium ion and what I say hydroxide ion, they are formed by the self-ionization of water. Similarly, self-ionization of this liquid ammonia, it leads to the formation of ammonium ion and amide groups. Respectively, they are resulted. These are formed as a result of self-ionization of liquid ammonia. This is called a parent solvent concept. And large number of chemical reactions can be correlated in terms of this concept. Large number of reactions, they can be correlated, they can be related by this concept. Okay. In this way, in this lecture, we have summarized, we have focused what is the solvent, what are the different type of solvent, and classification of the solvent. In the next meeting, let us meet with a better idea, new ideas. Okay, let us stop at this stage. Have a nice day.